Hello. Hi, everyone. We are live. Lou, we are live. Okay, wonderful. Guys, hello from Industry Connect. We welcome all of you. We're just going to wait a few minutes to ensure that more people can join us because more people are going to be getting the notifications on YouTube and on Facebook. So, just to give them some time to pick it up, we're going to wait for a while, guys. And as you can see, we have Lew Angeles with us again today. So, we'll just give it a bit of time. In the meantime, while waiting, guys, I'm just going to give you an introduction. For those of you who are joining us live for the first time, for the first time, if you want, you can get ready to take down some notes because Lou is going to give us some really interesting information. So be ready with some pen, paper, whatever you need to take your notes down. At the same time, if you're new to StreamYard, because we're going live with StreamYard, guys. So if you're new to it, look at the comments section over there. There would be a link. All right, so it's streamyard.com/Facebook. Now, if you want to comment and ask a question, you've got to give StreamYard permission to view your Facebook profile. That's when we can even see your comments. So please, guys, if you're joining us for the very first time, then get that done so that we can see your comments if need be. Otherwise, just be prepared to take down notes because Lou is going to share a lot of information with us again today. So we're just going to wait for like a few more seconds to see if we get a bit more to ensure that everyone picks this up, and then we're going to start in just a bit, guys. Lou, how are you? How are you feeling today?
I'm good, Reshmar. Thanks for having me again this week. So it was a fun session last Tuesday, the other Tuesday with Carla, and now I'm back to talk about this time it's a continuation of the discussion.
Right.
Because last week we've discussed about how to write your cover letter, how to write your CV, and how to target or what jobs to target. Now, we're assuming that the guys around they've created their CV, they've created their cover letter, and they've applied for a job, and they've been invited for interview already. Now, we want to talk about how to ace the interview.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I think that's going to be really helpful for everyone, Lou. On a serious note, I think, because it's the second part of the first session.
Correct.
So guys, for those of you who are watching us, and if you this is your first session with us, Lou, today we are very excited to have Lou with us again, Lew Angeles, and as you can see in his name is GTIO. We are welcoming him from our Recruitment Alliance Global Talent. So Lou is our Recruitment Manager for Global Talent. So he has got heaps of knowledge in terms of recruitment, in terms of CVs, in terms of acing interviews. What should you do in an interview? For those of you who are wondering, how do you end the interview? What do you say? How do you present yourself? Your verbal cues, your body language, is that important? Is it not important? So those are the things Lou is going to talk about today. So today's topic is going to be about how to ace an interview, how to ace your interview, right? So last week, Lou spoke about CV, cover letters, and resume. He spoke about targeting the right job, right, Lou? I think last week you spoke about that with Carla. So
Yep,
this
that's
week we're
correct.
going to be talking about ace an interview. So a few things that Lou is going to cover, Lou. I'm just going to help you with that to give them an overview. He's going to cover how to answer general questions, one, how to answer technical behavioral questions properly, right? And he's also going to talk about, how to kind of bring the feedback all around, give feedback or ask for feedback maybe, right? And how to step towards the end of the interview. What kind of actions? How do you ask them what is the next step at the end of the interview? What do you ask the interviewer? That kind of stuff. How do you end the interview well? So these are some of the things that I kind of gathered that Lou is going to talk about today. Non-verbal cues to avoid, how to prepare for the interview in the right way. So Lou, without further ado, steal the show.
Okay, so thank you very much, Reshmar. So for those who have seen the session last week, so we've talked about the CV, how to write your CV, and how to target the job. So this week, we're gonna talk about how can you prepare for an interview. Okay, so the first thing really is when we are coming to an interview, we have to make sure that we know or we have somehow researched about the company that is interviewing us. Okay,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
it's good that we have somehow researched about what the company does and what the role is all about. Okay, so
Mhm.
it's not only about researching about the company, but we have to research about the role as well, because you might be asked, what can you contribute to the organization? And
Right.
if you know about the role that you're trying to apply for, you'd be able to have talking points,
Mhm.
which which would somehow would impress the interviewer, and that's what we want to happen. So come prepared for the interview. Don't just come to the interview um, knowing what the company is or what the role is. We have to create our research as well, who they are, who the company are, and what the role is going to do. So basically,
Mhm.
that's what we should do before coming in to an interview. Yeah, yeah,
Wonderful. I think that's really important for people to know, how to prepare for an interview, because a lot of us take it for granted when we go for an interview, thinking that they're not going to ask us anything about the organization. But
yeah,
yes, they do. So it's good to read up a little bit, go to the website, figure out who are the top key personnel there and stuff like that. So yes, thank you for that, Lou.
yeah. That's fairly common, Reshmar, because people think that they're just on the interview, so the interviewer will not ask about the company since it's not expected of them. That's very wrong. You're expected to
Yeah.
research about the company, and what would help is to go a little bit of LinkedIn research and look
Hmm.
up key folks in the organization, and
Yeah.
it's good to be researching about the your interviewer as well. Okay,
Good.
so
Okay.
so you can search for it's okay. It's not creepy at all or something. So
Right. So
you
guys,
should
don't come
know.
across like you're stalking them, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're not
Okay.
stalking them. You just want to learn who they are. You just want to look up their profile because you want to you want to kind of base your answers on your audience or on the person that you're speaking with. So of course, if you're talking to a CEO, you have to be very, very, very extra polite. All right. So, well, not that you're not going to be polite if it's not the CEO, but
Yeah, to everyone basically, who
to
anyone.
everyone basically. But at least you have to know each level. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
each level of politeness. So it's really good to be researching about not only the company that on your role, but also your interviewer. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that, Lou. So, guys,
Mhm.
heard that loud and clear.
Mhm.
It's not about stalking them. So, don't worry, because some of them are generally worried. Because, on LinkedIn, it does notify you this person viewed your profile, that person viewed your
Correct.
profile. It does notify you. Some people do get like, oh my God, would they think that I'm weird or creepy? But, guys, I think this is just part of the process. I think recruiters and HR people should be quite used to it, that their profiles are visited quite often. So, in any case, yeah, thank you for that, Lou. So,
Mhm.
yeah, we can move on to the next. Is that all for that particular topic on how to prepare?
Yep, yep. So that's how we prepare for an interview. And then at this point in time, Reshmar, most of the interviews are virtual interview like this one we're doing. So
Yeah,
they're usually via Zoom or via Skype or whatever
exactly.
have you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that the interview is virtual. We won't be conscious about the nonverbal verbal cues. Okay,
Mm,
so
mm,
that's very visible, and the very reason why interviewers would like to do video conferencing like this is because they want to be able to see how you react during the interview, how
okay.
whether or not you're making an eye contact or you're smiling a lot during the interview. So that's very important. So the first thing is we have to make eye contact with the interviewer for a
Okay.
few seconds at a time. All right,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to be staring at the interviewer all the time. That might
Yeah,
creep
that will be
your
a disadvantage for someone like me with big eyes. It will naturally come across as I'm like, so yeah, good, good,
yeah,
good point then. Yes, Lou?
yeah. Okay, so we have to make eye contact with the interviewer for a
Yeah.
few seconds at a time, without staring at the interviewer all the time. And then we have to smile and nod
Okay.
at appropriate times,
Right.
especially when maybe when the interviewer is saying something that you feel that you need to smile, or saying something that you feel that you need to nod. So that's something that we need to do. All right, so that that gives our interviewer a hint that we're really listening, and
Mhm.
we are really paying attention to what he or she is saying. Okay,
Okay, got it.
and then we have to be polite and keep an eye, even you know. Uh, tone to our speech. Okay, well, we
Okay.
can't be too loud or we can't be too quiet. All right, so you don't want to be too high pitched or too monotonic. All right, so you have to be very natural. You have to
Right.
make sure that it's like a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
although it's a bit of a formal way of conversation, but it has to be really personal. So you have to keep that connection between ourselves and the interviewer. Okay,
Okay.
and yeah, and since it's a video interview or video conference. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about video conference, right? Because that's what's happening right now because of the
Yeah,
situation that we're in.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to sit straight. Okay, so don't
Okay.
slouch, because
Yeah,
if you slouch, that's
they will catch it,
very,
right?
yeah, it's very noticeable in the camera, right?
Right.
And yeah, it feels a little bit casual,
Mm-hmm.
and it might look like we are not respecting the ones interviewing us at all. So we have to make
Okay.
sure that we're sitting up straight, um, and we're not too casual and too relaxed. We have to be formal.
Okay.
Okay.
So even though you're seeing the person, not physically, you're not physically in front of the person, you're trying to say that, don't sit like this or don't sit like that, kind
Hmm.
of keep a good stance. Not necessary for them to be upright like this 24/7 though, but you just want them to keep a good stance, a good position upright. At least they don't look like they're slouching or they're tired or they're sleepy or they're bored, and they look interested, right? Because when you're sitting up straight, it looks like you're interested in the conversation.
Correct, correct. Just imagine, Reshmar, being interviewed, and since you're at home, you can put your feet up in the other chair in front of you. That's something that
Yeah.
you can. That's something you can do, and that's something that's comfortable. I know, but that's inappropriate because
Okay.
that might be a little visible. Like, just imagine me doing something like this during the interview, right?
Yeah,
So.
it is so visible, Lou. The funny thing is, when you talk about body language in terms of communication, it takes up 55% of what goes across to the other person compared to
Exactly.
words, compared to anything else. So your body language kind of does more than half of the talking for you before you can even start talking. So set the
Mm,
impression, guys, like what Lou said, the impression is so, so important. So even if you're having Zoom interviews, Google Meet, Google Hangout, whatever your interviews are, it's
mhm.
good for you to maintain a good stance, not have eye contact once in a while. So like what Lou said, look for a while and then you can look away. Look for a while, eye contact, look away. Don't just continuously stare at the nose and the eyebrow and the mouth and the ears and give them the feeling that you're analyzing the whole face. So just give them a bit of a comfortable breather, make it very natural. So, yes, Lou,
Right,
thank you for that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd like to point out one more thing. If we are worried about not being able to remember some of the things that will be discussed during the interview, it's
Okay.
okay to take notes. It's okay to take notes, but just remember to ask permission politely from the interviewer that you would like to take note, please, because you might forget details of the conversation. So it's okay for as long as it's not too distracting,
Okay.
and just keep it really discreet.
Mm.
But at the same time, we have to ask permission because the interviewer will really notice that we're doing something else aside from talking to him or her.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's fine, but we have to ask permission. Yeah.
Okay. Noted.
Okay. Yeah. So that's basically it for the non-verbal cues
Mm-hmm.
to avoid and to pay attention to. And then The next thing would be typically recruiters or interviewers would be asking general question. Now,
Mm,
the reason for that is, maybe they'd like to build rapport. They want you to feel relaxed
mhm,
because usually a candidate being interviewed, they're very much nervous, and the interviewer just like them to relax. And
mhm,
at the same time, your communication skills is be engaged or being measured as well.
mhm.
Okay, so um, those general questions, or I say tricky questions, like um, not really tricky question, but like you might
Quite.
be asking, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do during your, like if I'm being interviewed, my the first thing that would come to my mind is, why am I being asked for these questions? These are not even related to the job that I'm applying for. That's okay. All right. So just answer that the best way that you can, as honest
Mhm.
as possible, because they're just trying to make you relax, and they're just trying to gauge how well you communicate, how well you talk, and
Right.
that's basically it for answering general questions. Yeah.
Okay. So, in terms of answering general questions, it is just not something to be afraid of. Basically, what you're telling them is don't be afraid of it. It's just an interviewer's way of calming you down to build rapport. Maybe sometimes they just want to ask you things to see how you hold a conversation. Maybe
Yeah.
they ask you, tell me more about yourself. Are these considered general questions? That tell me more about yourself.
Yeah.
That kind.
Yep. So there's no right or wrong answer. Anything that answerable with, with any answers, something that would not, there's no wrong or right answer for general question. So
Yeah.
it's just, they just want the candidate or the interviewee to feel relaxed
Mm,
before they go to harder behavioral question, harder technical question, because if
right.
they go straight to those
Directly to it.
questions, yeah, and you might feel
Overwhelmed.
uncomfortable. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they want to make sure that you're relaxed, you're comfortable.
Okay, thank you for that, Lou. So I think they would have taken note. Guys, I hope you do take note that general questions, how do you handle those? Thank you for that, Lou.
Yeah. So typically, after general questions, the
Hmm.
interviewer will be asking about uh, technical questions or behavioral questions.
Right.
Now, these are questions that might require us to think first before answering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
especially for behavioral question. Behavioral question are usually experience based, like they're asking question from your past experience. So we don't have to feel like once the question is thrown upon us, we have to answer right away. That's the
Okay.
very common mistake that everyone makes. So it's understandable that we're answering a behavioral question, and answering a behavioral question is not easy. It
Yeah.
requires us to think about a certain situation from our previous job or from the university. So we have to ask the interviewer for some time to think about the answer. It's okay. Again,
It's okay.
ask permission. It's okay. Can I? Usually, how it should be said is, "Hi, Mr. or Miss Interviewer. Can I pause for a little while I'm trying to recall a certain situation in the past?" Okay, and now that's where we kind of apply the STAR method: the
Right.
situation, task, action, and result. Okay.
Hmm.
And the reason why we have to ask for a while to think about the answer is because, as much as possible, we want to be consistent with our answers.
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
because there are recruiters who are kind of checking our consistency. They're asking several different questions leading to the same answer,
Hmm.
and if the answer would be different, now that shows our inconsistent answer. So we have to make sure that the answer is really coming from our experience, coming from from the past that we remember,
Mm-hmm.
so that we are really consistent with with our answers, because we might be marked down during the interview if we are inconsistent with the answer. Yeah,
I
yeah,
see. Okay. So
yeah.
basically, for this part, when they are technical or behavioral questions, they should kind of ask permission to take a minute or two to kind of process the question in the first place
Correct,
and
correct.
formulate and have a structure to the answer, so that, because
Yes,
most people make a mistake by trying to answer right away when you give me a question, and then they start giving incoherent answers. So the
correct.
answer doesn't make sense. The beginning and the ending and the middle, everything gets mixed up. So, guys, so
Yeah.
basically, if you don't want to give a messy answer, you want to give a proper, structured answer.
Mm,
You might
mm,
need some moments to kind of put your answers together. So, what Lou is trying to say is, you can ask the interviewer, is it okay if I take some time or pause this for a while for me to kind of formulate my answers and go through my chain of thoughts and
exactly,
answer, because you don't want to sound fake at the very instant. You want to make sure that
exactly.
you really bring out the best of that question and answer it
Yeah,
and not go out of point as well.
yeah, yeah. Because these interviewers have been doing interview every day, maybe for
Yeah.
the last 5 or 10 years, and they're very good at catching those who are, just making up
That way
stories.
through.
So we gotta make sure that we're really consistent with our answer. So let's try to compose our thoughts first for a few while before answering. But of course, if you can right away, if the experience perhaps is very fresh and you can right
Yeah.
away, answer, um, give out your answer, then by all means do it. But if you feel like you need to ask for a few moments to think about the answer, then it's okay, for as long as we ask permission and we get a go signal from the interviewer.
Okay. So this applies to technical questions as well, right, Lou? Behavioral
Yeah.
questions are technical questions as well.
Yep, because sometimes for technical questions, there are a lot of skills that we might have forgotten already. So
Okay.
we want to try to recall them, because not all the skills. Like for example, if I'm asked, how do I do, let's say, VLOOKUP. That's something that I don't do every day in Excel. That's something that I
Mm,
don't do every day. So I would have to think first, oh, how did I do it? I know I was able to do it, but I just can't recall exactly how did I do it. Okay, Mr. Interviewer, can I think first for a while how to do it? Okay, then I'll start composing the thoughts in my mind. Oh, this is
right.
how I do it. Yeah. So it's as simple as that. Okay, because I don't want to be talking right away about things that won't make sense at all.
Exactly.
So
Then the
so that's
5, 10 years, they will know that you're making it up, or that you forgot and you're just trying to blabber something.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly. Okay, so and then towards the end of the interview, usually the interviewer would ask about if the candidate or the interviewee has any question. Okay,
Mm, yeah.
don't be afraid to ask question. All right, so by asking question, that's giving the interviewer or the recruiter an idea that you're really interested, you're really keen about, about the application. So ask about, if you feel like asking about the role, feel free to do so. All right.
Mm,
If you're talking to the maybe the corporate recruiter, you can ask about what's the next step, what's the process. All right. So um, lead time is also okay to be asked, like how long should I wait before I hear back from you guys? That's fine, that's totally fine. They won't mind it. If you're talking to the hiring manager or the department head, who is a subject matter expert, you can ask about the role, you can ask about the expectation from the person, things like that. All right, so um, we don't have to feel uncomfortable asking question.
okay.
That actually gives the interviewer an idea that we're very interested about the role, we're very keen about the role, and they would appreciate it.
Really? Okay, that's nice. So, in terms of asking questions, Lou, of course, the question has to make sense. The question can't be
Yes.
something that you ask for the sake of it because that can be picked up as well. If you really
Mm,
don't have questions, then it's okay to say, thank you so much for your time. I really don't have any questions.
mm,
But however, it is good to have a question. So you got to pay attention, right? The key is you've got to pay attention throughout the interview in order for you to even have a question in the first
correct.
place.
Correct.
Because if you don't pay
So
attention, then you're not going to have
yeah.
something.
Yeah. So that's another point. If you ask question, that means that you're paying attention throughout the interview and not just thinking about what to answer, not just thinking about how to make your answer
Sounds
really
good.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
or sound good. So if if we're asking question about maybe something that the recruiter discussed or something that the hiring manager discussed about the role,
Mhm.
then that tells them that, oh, this interview, this candidate is really paying attention, and they'd
Mhm.
really appreciate it. Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
right,
Awesome. So
right.
that is the wrapping up part of the interview. Am I right?
Yep, yep. And to add, Reshmar,
Mm.
since a lot of interviews are happening at home right now
Yeah. Yeah.
through video conferencing. We have
Yes.
to make sure that we have a very conducive environment, conducive for interview. Like there's no noise, just like our environment right now. It's very conducive for two-person talking, for an interviewer and interviewee talking.
Yeah.
So um, it has to be noise free. It has to be maybe well lit so
Mm.
that your face could be seen really well in camera clearly. And if you have a a headset that has a microphone
Mm-hmm.
that would extend something like this,
Okay.
it's good. Or the cell phone earphones would usually have
The
extended microphone. Yeah. I'm saying that because if we rely on the computer microphone, it might be not too clear because it might be a bit too far from our mouth.
yeah.
So we might not be that audible. So yeah, basically the environment should be conducive.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Lou. I think that would have really given them a lot of information in terms of these might seem like really simple things, but these small things add up to such big impact that you never know that the employer or the recruiter guys they really notice and observe every single thing. So these might be things you might be thinking, oh, I knew that. Oh, yeah, I knew that. But at the same time, very few of us put it to practice. When we're
Correct.
at that
Correct.
interview, we become nervous and we forget the entire thing we prepare for. So the
Mm,
small things are then picked out. So every single thing that Lou, I think you have shared today is so valuable because it's a good timely reminder, especially now in this era where all the interviews are on Zoom. And
mm,
a lot of
exactly.
people are, trying to impress people this way, virtually. So,
Mm.
yeah, is there anything else you'd like to share with us, Lou, for the day, for today's session before we
Yep.
wrap up?
Maybe for my last word, before we end the session,
Sure.
I should tell the people or the candidates to be who may be watching us, never ever ever memorize your answer to the interview. All right. Yeah, I've been interviewing for, I think, maybe for 10 years. I've been
Wow.
interviewing different candidates, and I could tell if the candidate has memorized the answer because they would sound scripted. Okay, they would sound scripted, and I can really easily catch that. So we don't want to do that. All right. So it's okay to have pointers in mind. It's okay to write in bullet points, uh, having our talking points, but never memorize them.
Okay.
We can just glance once at a time uh, in our notes, but never ever memorize, because if you memorize your answer,
Mm-hmm.
and you're asked about something that you did not memorize, you'll be uh,
Caught off
you'll
guard.
be out of words. Yeah, you'll be caught off guard. You don't know what to say because you've memorized all
I was
the things that you want to say.
Then you'll find yourself telling all the unwanted things, and that might get you into trouble as well.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
got it. I think that's a huge, huge, important last pointer that you shared there, Lou. That
Mhm.
don't. It's not a speech, guys. The more genuine you are, I think the more open you are, the more versatile you are, and your ability to think on your feet is also going to be so important during an interview. So if you're able to come up with on the spot answers in a very genuine way, be yourself. I think the most important thing is be yourself.
Mm.
Don't aim to be someone else, or don't put another front, because you can't hold that too long. You just want to be yourself. If you smile, smile. If you're listening, nod your head. So if you can
Right.
answer it. So yeah, I think that's really good points, Lou. So thank you so much for your time, and for sharing all this valuable information with us. We will see you guys. Thank you so much, whoever has been watching us and whoever's going to watch this later on. We hope you've enjoyed. We hope you've learned a thing or two, and you've really taken notes or something like that. We will catch you in the next one. Signing out, Industry Connect. Thank you, guys, Lou and Reshma.
Thank you.